is how we praise him. This is how we praise him. There was a small time in history where it felt like DreamWorks was putting their own spin of what modern 2D animation was coming out at the time. You know, if you can turn a little blind eye to the numerous copycats coming out. They were coming out with what felt far more adventurous than their competitors, and especially far more culturally diverse than their competitors. And it wasn't just, let's take these European stories and animate them. And if you were like me as a child and you were lucky enough to have these videos in the home video collection, I'm talking Sinbad, The Road to El Dorado, and the two movies that sparked my idea for this video, The Prince of Egypt and Joseph, King of Dreams. Now let's go down with those two. Opening up with this unforgettable musical number, Deliver Us, greeting us with such mysterious dust and wind, and then boom, the number takes off, picture as clear as day, with such an abundance of overworked slaves that fail in comparison to the massive opulent statue they're forced to give their lives to make, while they cry out in song. Everything about this song is mesmerizing and haunting, especially in their lyrics, but so fucking catchy. Making it hard to leave your head for the rest of the duration of the film. Now if we go back to the plot, the Pharaoh has instructed an infanticide on all the Hebrew babies in fear of them growing in numbers and uprising against him, resulting in little baby Moses and his family fleeing for cover and his mother sending him down a stream in order to deliver them from this destruction. Side note, the voice of the mother is being played by Ofra Haza, and she has lines where she sings in Hebrew and it's just you didn't have to do that, but you did it, and I want to thank you personally. And while like scrolling through comments on different videos about this movie, I found a fun fact. The voice actress actually sang all her parts in 18 different languages. Wow! Moses makes it safely down the stream after fighting for his fucking life down that stream, with his sister supervising him during his journey, and he lands safely into the arms of the great royal wife and is now being raised as an Egyptian, believing that he is part of the family. So a time skip happens and we are introduced to the brothers, Moses and Ramesses. Ramesses being like their biological son, Moses being adopted, but he doesn't know it. We are introduced to them in a very Road to El Dorado-esque scene, down to the very color of their clothes. I swear that movie is just them in another life. Like, they act so similarly to their dynamics and their humorous dialogue, and also in their contrasting attitudes. You know, one is more serious and the other one isn't, and they're just like, oh, you know what your problem is? You're too serious. Oh, you know what your problem is? You're not serious enough. And then they and then that dynamic helps them make silly moments.
Come on, Moses, admit it, you've always looked up to me. Yes, but it's not much of a view.
But they also had no fucking business making them that fucking good looking. With that fuck ass 1970s Freddie Mercury Bob. So they get busted for fucking around, obviously, like, look what the fuck you did. And Ramesses gets chewed out by his father, the Pharaoh. And I love, though it being very obvious, how the scenery is just an echo of people's beliefs. I am the evening and morning star of Egypt. Look at me. There's literally a statue to tell you I am greater than your fucking life. I am greater than you will ever be. Like, they are not subtle about it. And I fucking love it. And amidst the argument, we have the line where it just strikes the base chord of Ramesses' insecurity and pride.
One damaged temple does not destroy centuries of tradition, but one weak link can break the chain of a mighty dynasty.
The one weak link ruins the whole dynasty, and I'll bonk. That shit, that is embedded deep into that man's ego, and it will never fucking leave. Later that day, for a banquet, they present Ramesses and Moses with a stolen woman as a gift. We will never be free. After a whole, like, stupid fiasco that happens, and she silently escapes at night, and as smitten as Moses is, he runs after her without alerting the gods, but he's just like, there you go, queen, yeah! He's a bigger supporter even though he was a fucking asshole earlier.
You will show the proper respect for a prince of Egypt.
And he watches her ride off into her journey because she's so wild and free and like, you know, like the palace girls. While watching her ride off into the moonlight, how mystical she is. His sister pours out her entire heart to him and has him come face to face with the fact that he is their brother. And the Hebrews who he enslaves are his people. And her brother is like, girl, shut the fuck up! Shut up! He's gonna fucking kill us! Shut the fuck up! Hysterically, Moses sprints back to the palace while this song comes on where Moses sings about all I ever wanted. This is my home with my father, mother, brother. Oh, so lonesome, oh, so bright. I love that song. It's so good. It's so good. Look how beautiful it is. They are stunning. Look at the tones of it all. Oh my gosh. And showing more larger than life statues to prove that they are what makes the world go round. You know, they are gods. Moses being in a palace that enslaved people have built him to live in, and he's like, this is all I have. This is all I've known. Like, to be so privileged off of the back of workers. This soundtrack. Oh, this soundtrack. Let me get my ears out for this one. The soundtrack's so good, I'm fucking, oh my god. I want to make my ears bigger so I can listen to the soundtrack more. He falls asleep and has a nightmare of the infanticide that happened years ago. And guess how they show it? On the damn wall where all the historical events are depicted, they choose to depict that there. And it's like, and it looks so fucking good. I'm so fucking thankful they took the liberty of doing that instead of just a dream movie haze flashback, the fucking and then the fucking clouds everywhere, reuse the same footage. No, we are going to have a completely new scene in a completely different art style, and I'm going to completely eat it up. And because he fell asleep looking at the wall of events, has a nightmare about this, it like reflects it. So he awakens and rushes deeper into the palace to find the truth. This massive horrid wall that confirms his worst fucking nightmare. How this information is delivered is so beautifully. I'm gonna say it a million fucking times, especially for a child's film, especially for a biblical child's film. They usually put no fucking effort into that, but to zoom in and have the information delivered piece by piece by piece, getting more horrifying by the second. And then the Pharaoh pulls up and dismissing this by saying they were just slaves, like, and he strikes a fucking chord. The number continues, and when the great royal wife's part of the song, and she comes in to comfort Moses with all that he knows now, and it incorporates the melody of his younger sister's song that she sang in the intro. It incorporates that melody into the song when she sings about receiving blessings while she is in the place where she found Moses as a baby.
Brother, you're safe now, and safe may you stay, for I have a prayer just for you.
When the gods send you a blessing, you don't ask why it was sent.
Oh my god, that's so good. It was so seamless too. You didn't have to do that, but you did. And you did it flawlessly. And god, let's just look at how beautiful this scene is one more fucking time. Look at that. Look at that, bro. It's so good. Look at that shit, bro. God, look how pretty this is. And more visual storytelling here. How Moses only starts to notice all of the slaves around him after thinking that he's one of them. He's like, oh. Even when they're not physically around him. So haunting, so brilliant. Love it. It kind of reminds me how fucked up history is. How we basically only learn about the lives of the rich while the poor did everything. Gosh, I can't remember the saying where it's like, if you only study like the history of the rich, you are not studying what actually was going on back then. So Moses finally runs away from home after accidentally killing a man while trying to save a slave with his guilty-ridden conscience. His brother chases him, begging and negotiating with him to stay because he does not and can never have anybody in his life close to him besides family. Even then, family is still formal in the palace. And how the fuck is he gonna make friends but especially somebody like his brother that has been the only person by his side his entire fucking life. And Moses has so many good opportunities to just rush back to his old cushy life, but can't bring himself to it because unlike Ramesses, he has finally taken accountability for his actions. While springing off into the middle of bumfuck desert, the way they're able to depict such immersive environments, I've never felt so fucking dry in my fucking skin looking at this. I could just feel itchy and oh my god, it's so dry. I feel itchy watching these scenes. There's no moisture in the air at all. Everything is sand ridden and sand infested. Not to mention the sores on my feet while he's walking those cracked plains. My mouth is all white because there's no moisture anywhere. Mwah, it's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. And especially for 1997. Bitch, 1997. Wait, 1998! While wandering back to the desert, he miraculously meets the woman that was stolen for him a while back, named Zipporah. And eventually he's welcomed into their clan and bring out one of my favorite fucking songs. I love this song so much! Which this song in particular made me realize just how many values and lessons that can be found in any religion can be found in another. Any values and morals that can be found in this religion can be found in any other. Like, be humble, take only as much as you need, be kind, have patience. All those morals, you could find them anywhere. And I feel like religion is really the basis of humanity, regardless of what your view is on it. All religions like share this humane moral basis. And I think that's really sweet. So Moses gets to be married to Zipporah and learns the value of where he stands in life and how he's just as valuable as when he is a shepherd versus him with all his riches around in the palace. Many years have passed and he meets the burning bush. Hey queen. The burning bush, aka God. So God instructs Moses in this gorgeous scene to free the Hebrews, and when Moses questions him,
How can I even speak to these people?
he's like, do you know who the fuck I am? Do you know who I am? Which is so funny to me because there's so many instances in the Bible where he just gets so upset. It's like, do you know who I am? Do you know who the fuck I am? Moses returns to Egypt to see the Pharaoh, who is now his brother. And there's a little tender moment that happens when they're so happy to reunite with one another because they're brothers. They're besties. Oh. And it's all downhill from here. Moses asks him to release the Hebrews on command from God. Ramesses doesn't believe him because in his eyes he's God, and he's like, I didn't tell you to do that. What do you mean there's another God? I am God. How dare you have a different religion from me? What the fuck is wrong with you? Moses shows his staff transforming into a snake to show the miracle of his God, and Ramesses' advisors are like, we can do that too. Through smoke and mirrors, making it seem like they have more power than him. It's like, oh, that's your miracle? Look at our miracles. And it's just smoke and mirrors, because to them that miracle Moses performed was just like a show that he performed. And it's so funny as shit that Moses, a snake, eats the advisor snakes to show his like real power. Just like, I want to be able to do that. Just eat whoever the fuck I don't like. I bore whoever I don't like. That's how I solve my problems. But ultimately, Moses is not taken seriously, and the workload is doubled for the slaves for insulting the Pharaoh, and Ramesses having to uphold traditions and his pride in order to be worthy of his place, and especially having to outdo his father, because that was the goal for the empire, to grow bigger, stronger, and therefore having to do more, having everything to be outdone. You can't just do what they did, you have to make it bigger in order to grow. So that's a lot of pressure to hold up to. When Moses is outside, they all shit on him. They say fuck you. They throw shit at him. And when he comes across his biological sister Miriam, she has every right to shit on him just as much as they do. She serves as a stand of hope in all of this, teaching love and forgiveness, but still holding him accountable and having to earn his trust. Seeing another chance to get his words across to Ramesses. Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful it is. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at it. Ramesses is fed up.
You cannot keep ignoring us. Enough. I will hear no more of this Hebrew nonsense. Bring him to me.
Moses now cast one of the first of the 10 plagues upon Egypt, turning the waters into blood everywhere but around him. And it gets Ramesses for a second. He's like, guys, what the fuck is going on? But the advisors are like, we can do that too.
Rest assured, Your Majesty.
Yes, we are going to demonstrate the superior might of our gods. By the power of Ra.
Put some powder in some water, mix it up, be like, here you go, look what I did. That's basically their fucking job sometimes. And here we have the rest of the 10 plagues. Just one iconic sequence after another. Frog invasion, lice, flies, dead livestock, boils on the skin, hail, locust infection, 3 days of darkness. And you know I'm gonna mention the music again. It speaks for itself, so I'ma shut the fuck up and just...
How could you have come to hate me so?
Whoa.
Is this what you wanted?
Compacting and condensing the plagues into just one musical number, really fucking amping up the severity of this. Ramesses doesn't give a fuck. Ramesses is still gonna carry on in his traditions and still not give a fuck. His number one tradition, don't care. The last plague has arrived, the Passover, aka the death of every firstborn. Moses instructs the Hebrews to mark the doorplates with blood of a sacrificed lamb, so the plague does not enter their homes to take their firstborn. I cannot describe how horrifying it was to watch the Passover as a child. Shit is scary to this fucking day, and really opened my fucking perspective on the Bible. Like, the Bible not so happy right now, I'm scared, guys. And the design of the Passover's form is so formless, and the design of its very slight but haunting sound. Wow. Like, to actually see these scenes depicted so well as a kid, I'm like, damn, this was real shit. I'm so happy to be alive right now. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. This is me in Bible class. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Then showing the scene of Ramesses' child dead. And the scene is drained of any color and therefore drained of any life. I'm sorry. Absolutely no color. But also how the emotion is so loud in the room. Everything is so quiet because of the sensitivity going on.
Leave me.
Moses and his people are finally fucking free to leave.
Pray, then I gotta get it out. I gotta pray.
And then the most Bible-ass song starts playing. You can see everyone just holding hands. At this point, it's like, you deserve at least one Bible song, bro. Strum that fucking guitar. On their journey to go back home, they come across the Red Sea, only to look back. Fuck. Ramesses is tailing behind them, enraged that his pride and his ego are hurt, and he will not fucking give up. He's like, what the fuck did I do? What the fuck? The whole sequence is flooded with tension. No pun. Moses entrusts in God to help him cross the Red Sea as he parts it for him.
Straight up.
The whole parting of the Red Sea sequence took a whole year for animators to do, and it's just, wow. I love you, biblically accurate aquarium. They really packed in so much being experienced here. Everybody just hauling their homes, running for their life, and especially that fucking poor little donkey, bruh. I felt bad. That little baby, I wanted to pick him up and carry him like the little Encanto woman. Me encantó. Me encantó. Like, if you think of their perspective, this is something that you never really think could possibly imagine happening right before your eyes. You can't even spare to blink because you're being chased by the people that you were just set free from. The sea partially closes, sweeping away hundreds of Egyptian soldiers, which you kind of do feel bad for. Aww. And they all make it safely across the Red Sea, leaving Ramesses a shell of a man, now filled with his own hatred, literally crying out for Moses. While he looks so fucking tiny on that rock, while the rest of Moses' people continue in their journey. damn. This was the second feature film from DreamWorks and the first one to be fully traditionally animated, along with some computer-generated imagery to make the animators' lives just a tiny bit more easier. Like, we'll slide you this. Within the film, there was approximately 934 hand-painted backgrounds that were created. Animation team for The Prince of Egypt included 350 artists from 34 different nations, and they were primarily recruited from Walt Disney Animation, so you know they're fucking good. And if you don't know, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the co-founder of DreamWorks, used to work at Disney, and he begged them, please make my Bible story. They were like, nah. Removed himself from there and started DreamWorks with a few unknown other people. Unknown is fucking crazy. And bless any hand-drawn or handcrafted art that people still do. My whole heart goes out to them, bro. That's where love is. That's where life is. Crafting shit with your fucking hands. Especially in modern day before the whole 3D takeover. Boss baby, they're fucking ugly as shit. I'm sorry, but what people are coming up with, you're fucking ugly. You're joking. We used to have culture. Like fucking Chell from El Dorado. What the fuck is this? We used to have sexy women. Where are the sexy women? Speaking of the animation, I really enjoyed how they made sure that the Hebrews and the Egyptians look different, which you think is like basic design 101. But you see the shit we have today before the whole Pixarification, Disneyfication of people, they all look the same. You're all fucking boring. I eat up the bare minimum now because of you people. Consideration was given to depicting the ethnicities of the ancient Egyptians, Hebrews, and Nubians properly. The film being fairly religiously accurate. Because DreamWorks was concerned about the theological accuracy, Jeffrey Katzenberg decided to call in biblical scholars, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim theologians and Arab American leaders to lead this film to be a more accurate and faithful to what the original story was. After previewing and developing the film, all these leaders noted that the studio executives listened and responded to their ideas and praised the studio for reaching out for comment from outside sources. But funny enough, The Prince of Egypt is banned in Egypt. The Prince of Egypt was banned in Maldives, Malaysia, and Egypt, and all state Islam countries on the grounds of Islamic prophets, who include Moses, cannot be visually depicted. The film was also banned in Indonesia, but was later released in video CD format. Fuck is a video CD? What do you mean a DVD? Next up we have Joseph King of Dreams, that they also worked on during the production of Prince of Egypt. They had the same animators do shit, but they knew it was going to be a straight to DVD release, so they're like, let's cut out a few frames here and there.
I was among you, but then all of a sudden I was above you and...
But it's fucking crazy to do two movies at once, considering you've only released one full feature film. It's like, we gotta crank them up. This film is basically acting as the prequel for Prince of Egypt, since it is set in Genesis. The story of Joseph opens up on the day of his birth, which is fucking crazy, since so much drama has happened beforehand. And I'm sorry, like, they could have made a prequel of the prequel. That's... Bruh, the Bible is tea. I don't think you know how dramatic the Bible is. Like his father Jacob deceiving his father for firstborn rights since he was the secondborn, then having to work for free for 7 years since he couldn't afford to marry the woman he wanted, so he worked for free for 7 years and he didn't end up marrying the woman he wanted, and the woman he wanted was his cousin. So he had to marry her uglier sister instead before he could actually marry her. That's fucking crazy. You could have made a whole movie on that. Joseph is born a healthy boy to his mother Rachel, who was known to be very infertile, so that is why he is considered a miracle child.
A miracle child.
Guess it is a miracle.
The miracle child.
Hence the opening song, Miracle Child.
You
Fucking
are a
banger.
miracle child.
Dearest mother, beloved father, a coat as bright as butterfly wing, to remind me things you've told me all my life. I am special, I am smart, I am somehow set apart. I fucking love that song. That shit stuck with me so hard as a child that the very mention of the word miracle, instant like replay, like I am a miracle child. And they say religion isn't brainwashing. The songs here aren't as eclectic as The Prince of Egypt, given they got a composer that has never composed a musical before. But since Hans Zimmer composed The Prince of Egypt, he gave the stamp to the new guy, so I was like, I mean, you're good enough. But this shit still goes hard in Bible class. Okay, we are holding hands, we are singing, it still has that essence. Joseph is now the 12th brother in the family. The rest of his brothers coming from Father Jacob's first wife, Leah, that he didn't want to marry, remember? He did not give a fuck about her, so therefore he does not give a fuck about her kids. All 11 of them. 12?
I expect you to watch after Joseph, but you abandoned my son! My son!
Aren't we your sons too?
And since Joseph is the only one his father Jacob cares about, he decides to give him an education, cool clothes, basic parental love and affection. And the brothers are just standing there like, that's cool. What the fuck is that? Never had that before. And it's really set down from the beginning that he is not like his other brothers, and they constantly shove it in all 11 of their faces all the damn time. So naturally they begin to resent him, because what the fuck are they gonna do? Just sit there and accept it like, oh, you got hugged by dad today? That's crazy, I've never felt his warm embrace. Like, what are they supposed to do? Just sit there and take it like, no, you are better than me, you are cooler than me, you are a miracle child. So one night Joseph has a nightmare of the herd's ram being killed by wolves, and wakes up in distraught screaming and alerting everyone that the ram is dead because of his dream. And whoever pitched the idea of having the dream sequence portrayed as a living Van Gogh painting, I want to give you a kiss, I want to give you a kiss, I want to give you a kiss, I want to give you a kiss. That shit was groundbreaking to watch as a child. I'm like, oh my god, it's real but not really. And like the paint is moving and it's so, the music is calm but everything is so jarring. Like, wow, we did not deserve that. And watching that as an adult is so heartwarming. Like, people don't do shit like that anymore. It's gonna make me cry. They assure Joseph that everything is fine, but since Joseph woke everybody up, his father decides to send them early out to the fields, and it's like, fuck you, Joseph. Fuck you, Joseph. Fuck you, Joseph. Joseph begs to join his brothers and finally gets to.
You have to be very careful. You might cut your hands on the soft fur.
Get away. I just want to help.
You've helped enough. Thanks to you, we'll work an extra hour today.
You're not tired because you got up early. It's because you were out all night.
Why, what do you know?
I know about everything. The women and the drinking. There's a lot Father doesn't know.
But they all just leave him with their duties, and alas, the dream comes true. The wolves try to attack him and the flock, leaving the ram to die. And the movement and composition of this amps everything up so well. Such fluidity of it all, and the sudden shifting of shapes is just, give me more, give me more, give me more. I fucking love this. The next day Joseph has another dream and tells his brothers that they all had hay and they were bowing to him and there were stars everywhere, and it's like, maybe I am Jesus. Kind of pisses his brothers off, and they finally decide to ditch him in a hole. No, they ditched him in a hole. After leaving him there stranded for a night, a rope descends down to his rescue, and when he reaches the surface, Joseph does not see his brothers, but slave traders.
My brothers will come for me. Told you they'd come for me.
Joseph pleads to his brothers to save him, but his brothers just sold him off to be a fucking slave. He's standing behind them. My brothers will help me. My brothers will help me. My brothers brought me into this fucking situation. And we get this montage of him journeying to Egypt to be sold off. And I'm sorry, but he looks like a fucking damn Versace ad. They had no business sculpting him like that. I can't take it seriously, bro. Like, he looks pretty when he cries. I can't take him seriously. I'm waiting for the perfume to pop up at the end of the sequence like, Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, Versace. And his brothers look so fucking ordinary and lackluster compared to him.
Behold the glory, behold the wonder. What we have made shall not be torn asunder. Such vast achievement, stone and papyrus, beneath the gaze of Isis and Osiris. And of majesty, where the heavens smile.
finally arrives to Egypt and gets sold as a slave. He gets sold to Potiphar, the chief of the Pharaoh's guards. Damn, I wonder why they chose him, huh? Like, he has no muscle on him whatsoever, has never worked a day in his life, and fucking Potiphar's wife is looking at him like... He's 17. This woman. I'll shut the fuck up. During the course of working for Potiphar, Joseph proves his smarts and ranks up to have more intellectual work rather than manual labor. He gets to play fucking Animal Crossing DLC as a job.
Take a tour of the home. Place the designated furniture requested by the client. After that, everything else is up to you.
And in the course of his 11 years working for Potiphar, earning his trust, proving his intelligence, everything comes crashing down when on one night, Joseph is painting his hometown on the walls and Potiphar's fucking wife,
Joseph,
sneaks up on him, forcing herself onto him, and he is dreadfully uncomfortable and obviously declines her advances. She sparks in a fit of rage.
Everything you are, you owe to me!
Ultimately landing in Joseph's arrest and falsely accusing him, trying to force himself onto her. The scene of Joseph being sent away is so good simply because of this one interaction.
You must be put to death. See to it.
No, Master, I beg you. Tell him, help me, tell him that...
Stop. He doesn't deserve to die.
Why? I see.
Potiphar can tell she's lying about him forcing himself onto her, but she has to lie out of humiliation, and it twists the knife inside of him, having to send his right-hand man away into prison. Such a good, dynamic scene, and especially for a children's movie, like what the fuck? Joseph gets imprisoned for 2 years, and we get this Bible banger, 10 out of 10, bruh. You know I'm better than I'm. And we see the sequence of Joseph having to accept the great plan of the universe and not to spend his time being bitter at God for the way things are. I'm taking a piece of that fucking lesson. I'm like, I kind of need this. I can't be like, why me? Why did you pick me? I don't want to be the prison. Later, Potiphar is sent to retrieve Joseph from his prison after 2 years, in need to aid the Pharaoh with his haunting nightmares, since he has heard from previous prisoners that Joseph has gifts of seeing what dreams mean. And they make Joseph decipher the Pharaoh's dreams, warning him that there will be 7 years of flourishing agriculture followed by 7 years of famine, informing him that he has to get a man that he can trust to store away 1/5 of the grains to last the famine and the drought that is about to come. And when the Pharaoh goes to Potiphar, is like, do you trust this man? And then he goes, with my life. Oh my god. This is probably what Marvel feels like to straight men, brother. I got that film noir type. Show me the case. Having a stock of grain, this also allows them to trade with neighbors during the famine. And guess who has the audacity to fucking show up? His brothers, bro. Oh my god, everything was going so fucking well. Stomach churning, palm sweating, and the audacity of these men. They are here to pay for some grain since the drought has struck their family. Joseph charges in.
Very well. Give them nothing.
You guys are lying about your situation. Like, where we have starving brothers, even though all 11 are you here. Like, I think you're lying about that.
Are you thieves hoping to see where we store our grain? Spies? I don't know what you are, but I don't believe your story.
And then he pulls out the fucking race card and is like, you're not even Egyptian. Get the fuck out.
10 foreigners asking for grain. No ties to Egypt.
So he imprisons one of their brothers and instructs them to come back with their remaining brother that stayed at home. Only then will he believe them and allow them to trade. Days later, they return with their brother Benjamin, and Joseph instantly fucking attacks him like, where your mom at, huh?
My mother is no longer alive.
Benjamin's mother Rachel has died while giving birth to him. Oh my god, Jacob really fucking bred them to death, bro. He did not stop. He did not stop! Benjamin expresses how his father is deeply worried about having Benjamin stay so far away from home. And Joseph is like, damn, that's crazy. I wonder if like anything happened for him to be so worried about his precious son from the woman he loves. And he spills that not too long ago they had a brother that was killed by wolves. You fucking liars! Somebody hold me back. You fucking liars! You fucking liars! The brothers reunite with their imprisoned brother because they kept their word in bringing Benjamin to Joseph. And Joseph generously invites them to a celebration filled with food, wine, music, and women. Women! Jesus Christ. We cut to a few hours later where the whole gang of brothers are brought back into the palace under arrest for theft. Joseph steps back and like an angry parent lecturing them, he's like, get his ass, get him, get him. He cuts all of their bags of grain to reveal that golden child that should have been me, baby Benjamin, stole his golden chalice. And his brothers have the audacity to be like, no, don't take him. Don't take him, pick me. Pick me, boy, pick me.
Take me.
Take me. Take me.
Take me.
Pick me. Choose me. Enslave me. What the fuck? Where was that when I needed that? And Joseph has the upper hand and he's like, I could continue the cycle of hatred I have towards my brothers just like they had towards me.
You would sacrifice yourselves for a half-brother who's spoiled by your father?
Yes.
Why? Why should you care if I take him, beat him, make him a slave?
Because I will not make my father suffer again.
And I think probably seeing how his brothers changed so much, he's like, fuck, I can't do that. I would have done it. And they finally fess up about what really happened to Joseph.
Our brother was not killed by wolves. We were blinded by jealousy and sold him into slavery. For 20 years we have lived with that guilt.
Finally admitted how blinded by hatred and disdain, resulting in Joseph revealing his true identity to them and seeing his family again. Happy ending. Me, you know better than I. You. Good shit. I'm sorry. Good shit. Watching this as an adult, I'm like, this was pretty fucking good. I listened to the fucking soundtrack over and over because it's so fucking good. I'm cleaning like an old woman and I'm like, you know better than I. What the fuck? A little side note here. Why the fuck did they put this woman on the cover? I don't know why they put the woman that accused Joseph of falsely forcing himself onto her on the fucking cover. Like they look like a fucking little happy family, bro. No, that is a bitch. That is a bitch right there. But the question begs, what makes these movies stand out from other Bible movies? The humanity of it all. Actual solid stories that you could see in any other non-biblical movie, rather than all these watered down, made for children. Like, just have faith and believe, and like, why the fuck are they all white? I don't know, that feels wrong to look at them being white. It feels wrong to look at. That's what makes things good, having faith and believing. Like, yes, these are essential parts to biblical films, but you can't just spread it out so loosely like that in fear that these children cannot understand these messages because there's so many horrible things happening. If anything, the children will understand because there's so many fucking horrible things happening. It obviously does have scenes where it is required to have faith and to believe, because removing that is obviously insulting because that is a huge part of religion, but they're not spreading it out. Like how this movie chooses to unpack itself and deliver information. There are already so many great videos about why The Prince of Egypt is an actual fucking masterpiece. And like this one, and this one, and maybe I did like steal points from them because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so smart. What truly stuck out for me in The Prince of Egypt, it really just brought so much complexity and emotional layers into this baseline of a Bible story. It's meant for children, but doesn't shy away that these are real people with flaws and there's hatred and gore and murder and people fuck up. Unlike most children-friendly adaptations do, like they are able to show all the wrongdoings of these characters that are required to simply understand them and to simply understand these morals rather than be good, making you so drawn emotionally and to be able to relate to them. Because the Bible, as vast as it is, it's really just A happened, we have some time, then B happened. You can't really tell what's being said in between, how people are feeling. And DreamWorks used that to their advantage, as difficult as it was, taking the creative liberties to align all of that with the story. There's an extract of how they did it in Joseph King of Dreams, and they had to figure out what the characters wanted, and then everything formed into place. Like, you can imagine how a person would act to get what they want. Once we discovered the wants of the main characters, it was simple to figure out what actions they would do to satisfy them. Another important discovery was finding the voice of each individual. Once we had a deeper understanding of our characters and what made them tick, the scenes had sparked life into them that was missing all along. The characters were now driving the scenes instead of vice versa. In time, ideas that were born out of character helped blend the sequences so they flowed into each other instead of feeling disconnected. I feel like that is such a good way to adapt things, and you don't have step-by-step accurate depiction of what actually happened. And there's so much more going on in religion and in the Bible. Regardless if God is there or not, there's just so much going on in general. That's what makes this movie so appealing, is the basis of human relationships, human flaws, and human morals, which makes something like the Bible a perfect adaptation. As much as these people's stories are read and taught and understood, they were people with egos and selfishness and most of all mistakes that I feel like as a child learning the Bible, nobody really informed you of that. It's just like, oh, I did it with God. Yay, God. And I feel like you have to learn that, especially as a child, to see yourself being reflected and understand, what do I do? And while scrolling through these videos about the Prince of Egypt, is that one thing I realized what separates Moses from Ramesses is accountability. When Moses actually kills a man, Ramesses' primary concern is sweeping it under the rug, but Moses embraces the consequences of his actions. But then Ramesses is responsible for slavery. Moses holds him accountable, but Ramesses resents him for it.
I goaded Ramesses on, and so I am responsible.
Responsible. And do you know the meaning of that word, Ramesses?
One other comment also said, as a Christian, I love this film and the characters. They are real people from thousands of years ago that are struggling with things we still do now. They aren't spineless. They had their own doubts and fears. When Moses met God, he didn't all of a sudden become fearless and confident. They were doubts and a ton of shame, but God used him. Truly motivating film, as well as a great example of faith. And I've heard, like, you could watch The Prince of Egypt without being religious. It is that good. So why don't they make more movies? We can see there was so much passion, so much money, and so much effort going into this. Like The Prince of Egypt being so critically acclaimed and having made $218 million from its $60 million budget. You did good. Keep it going, because they were planning to do the whole part of Exodus from the Bible. No XO. So why don't they keep going? No, it's being Shrek. Fucking Shrek. I love Shrek. Freaking Shrek. They made Shrek as their next fully animated feature film, and it fucking crushed any profit Prince of Egypt saw. They crushed the Prince of Egypt's profits into dust, while also being made on the exact same $60 million budget. That doesn't even sound like a real fucking number. They made 60 million look small. It was basically nothing when comparing to the release of Shrek. And DreamWorks is a money making machine. They only care about money, and Shrek was their little golden goose, leaving the passion projects just to wither away. But I'm still so grateful that they came to be and I got to see them and watch them as an adult, like reminiscing, like, oh, I remember that. Now we just all have to accept the abomination of Boss Baby into our lives. Wah! Thank you so much for watching. Maybe I'll see you next time. Bye.